Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. This week we got the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and it's going to be the second time that this event has taken place. It'll be taking place at Detroit Golf Club. Last week was an interesting week. We'll do that quick recap of last week. So we knew that there was going to be a high variance week that was going to occur, and that happened last week. I mean, a majority of lineups that were submitted had 3 out of 6 across the cut line. Only around like 7% had better than 5 out of 6 across the cut line, which is obviously just crazy. That is not a normal week, and that is not a week that we're going to see once again. I think that's the most crazy week I've seen in about like 4 years or so. So that is not normal, but the overall message that I sent last week is that it was going to be a studs and duds week, and that is exactly what we saw. Obviously, DJ won, but we were on Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele. Bryson was such an easy play. There was some weirdness involved with last week with Webb Simpson and Brooks Koepka both withdrawing, which actually just made me end up on Jon Rahm a little bit more than I thought I was going to. And then overall, some of the value plays hit and some of the value plays did not. That's kind of what is expected when you're going to do that studs and duds week. The real problem with last week is that a lot of the mid-tier and a lot of the low-tier players across the board, salary-wise, just missed the cut. And those are a lot of popular plays. I'll just say it again. Last week was not a normal week, and we know that. We know that there's going to be random weeks like that where the variance hits, and we kind of expected that early on after that huge break. But I do think that this week, this Rocket Mortgage Classic, is going to be a much easier week. It's a little bit difficult there. There's some players that we're going to be paying up for, but let's get into it. We'll start it off here with the key stats. So key stats that we're going to be looking at, this is only the second time that this event has been played at this course. And last year we pretty much were dialed in on what we wanted to look at. Some course facts real quick. It's designed by Donald Ross. There are a few PGA Tour events that have been played that were designed by Donald Ross in the last 3 years. So we'll be looking at those as comp courses. And, kind of because of that, we're going to be looking at ball striking, driving accuracy, driving distance. For Nate Lashley's win last year was not really a factor at all. So I don't think we have to look at that too much. Par 5 scoring. Par 5 scoring is always something I kind of like to look at when there are 4 par 5s. Because if your golfer is going to score on those par 5s, that's just going to separate them a little bit, especially if they birdie or bogey a little bit. So that's why we're also going to be looking at birdie to bogey ratio. I think that stat's a little bit better than looking at birdie or better percentage, just slightly for making the cut. Obviously, I think birdie or better percentage is slightly better for just overall finish if you're trying to do that high GPP upside. But overall, I think birdie to bogey ratio, especially this week, is going to be a key stat that we want to look at. So recent form, Bryson, obviously, he's been on a tear. We know that. Doc Redman, his recent form has been ascending. It's been getting better each week, so we do like that. Victor Hovland has 3 straight top 25 finishes, and Lucas Glover has 3 straight top 35 finishes. So all those guys are playing some good golf, and they're all in the field this week. So a little bit of course history. It's not going to be course history this week. It's going to be comp course history. We're going to be looking at last year's finish, and then we're also going to be looking at the Donald Ross specialist. The 2 courses that were played at in 2018, we're going to be looking at that. Now, that data is not really significant. It's just going to tell a part of the story as well. So Brent Snedeker, people like to say Siwoo Kim is a Pete Dye specialist, then Brent Snedeker would be the Donald Ross specialist. He's had a 4th finish at this event last year. Then he had a 1st finish at the other comp course that we're going to be looking at. Hideki's had 3 straight May cuts on the Donald Ross course. Kyle Stanley has had 2 top 25 finishes, and then Webb Simpson has had 2 top 5 finishes on Donald Ross courses. All right, so moving on to the player pool here, I am pretty much fine with anyone on that high end. There are a ton of great plays. That's the problem from Bryson all the way down to Scotty Scheffler. They're all going to be good plays. But if you can pay up for Bryson, I think you should. He had a T19 at one of the Donald Ross courses in 2018. He is a top 5 stat fit. He's just a really solid play. If you can fit him into your build, you should. He's hitting the ball accurately and long. So he's a guy that should go out and score. It should be a matter of when he wins, not if. Webb is going to be a great play as well. He is the best stat fit according to my model this week. He ranks top 29 in all the stats that we're looking at. And I just said that he had 2 top 5 finishes at those Donald Ross courses that we're looking at. Now, neither Bryson or Webb or Hatton played at this event last year. So we don't have the direct course history to look at, but Terrell Hatton, he's the second best overall stat fit in the field this week. And that's why these 3 players are priced that high. I wouldn't go out of my way to get any one of these 3, but I'm perfectly fine with ending up on any one of those 3 guys. Those are the 3 that you should be paying up for. Victor Hovland is going to be the next kind of player I'd be fine with. I do like Hideki. I'm fine with Reed as well, but Hovland just stands out as a play to me. As I said, he has been getting better finishes each and every week, and he had a T13 finish here last year. He ranks top 10 according to my model this week, so I do like him. Sanjay M had a 21st finish here last year. He's a top 10 staff fit as well. I do wish he was doing a little bit better recent form. He's kind of been, struggling a little bit, but that could all come back, and he can have a really solid finish this week. After Sanjay, let's go down to Harris English. I do like Scotty Scheffler as well, but English had a 55th finish here last year. He had an 11th finish at one of the other Donald Ross courses that we're looking at. He's a top 5 stat fit. Really, the only thing that he's been struggling with recently would be par 5 scoring and greens and regulation. Every other stat that we're looking at is going to be top 25 or better. So I do really like English again as a play this week. I just hate that we're paying up for English and Doc Redman this week. Normally these guys would be like 7K plays. Doc Redman, though, he had a second overall finish here last year. I think that's why he got the price bump, and as well as his finishes have been getting better each week. He is a great stat fit as well, so he's a top 10 stat fit as well. The only thing he really struggles at is putting, and if he starts dropping some putts, he could potentially win an event. Lucas Glover's a play that I do like as well. He doesn't have any Donald Ross course history, if you will. But he is a top 20 stat fit. Not a great play, but I do like that recent form, and I think that recent form is going to be, the key thing to look at for him, because I think that'll lead to him making the cut at this week's event. Those are kind of iffy. I think if you want to go the safe route, it would be Adam Hadwin, who, is just always a cut maker. He's made 9 out of 10 cuts on the year. He made the cut in the last 2 events as well. He's a top 10 stat fit, really just strong in everything except for par 5 scoring. Everything else is going to be top 30 or better. So I do think Adam Hadwin's going to be kind of the pay down play to get a made cut. After Hadwin, I really do like Brian Stewart here. So he had a 5th overall finish here last year. And the fun fact about Stewart is that he played college 30 minutes away from Detroit Golf Club. So I believe he played it a ton when he was younger. You would only think that. And obviously there's a little bit of a home course experience there then. So Stewart has been playing some great golf. He's a relatively solid stat fit. At that price point, I just really like Brian Stewart. So he's going to be in a lot of my builds, I think, this week. And then Mark Hubbard. So Mark Hubbard has been playing some really great golf. And I pointed out last week, if he can just clean up that one bad round that he has, he begins some top 10 finishes. And maybe this will be the week that he does that, where he doesn't have, that really bad round. I do like him. He's a top 20 stat fit. He really hasn't had a weakness in his game. He's hitting the ball accurate. He's making greens, and he's dropping putts. He could be a little bit longer, but I'm fine with that play this week. Tyler Duncan's been a value play that we've been on a ton. As you guys are seeing, a lot of these guys that were value plays, last 3 weeks are now priced up quite a bit. But Tyler Duncan, 3 straight made cuts. We already seen him have the upside to go on and win. I don't mind him. I should warn you, though, that he has missed 2 straight cuts at Donald Ross courses, although I don't think we have to worry about that too much. It's just kind of a bonus thing to look at. I'm fine with Harry Higgs this week. He really struggled last week, but he is a top 25 stat fit. It's a fine GPP play. Won't have him too much. Same thing for Norlander here. So Norlander, it's very interesting. I just like the price point for it mostly. He did make the cut last week. He's a guy that drives it accurate and, hits greens and regulations. His birdie to bogey ratio is, they're all around, T50 or better. So I just don't mind him as a play. He's a top 25 stat fit this week at that price point. I'm perfectly fine with that. And there's 2 deep value plays that I like. So the first one, Tim Wilkinson. I tweeted out last week where it's like, don't be surprised that this guy makes the cut. Now, he missed it by 1 stroke, -3, played solid though. And an event where the field is a little bit weaker, you would expect if he plays the way he did last week to go out and make the cut. He is a top 25 stat fit this week as well. So I really expect him to go out and make the cut. He is top 10 in driving accuracy and top 50 in greens and regulation. So I think he will make the cut this week, especially at that price point where we can get, a projected make cut. That is awesome. And then DJ Trahan. So Trahan kind of screwed me, I guess, out of a lot of 6-for-6 lineups with that 76 he had in round 2. He was kind of the last value play I had in a ton of my builds, and he kind of screwed me on that. But I'm going back to the well with him this week. 6K play that should make the cut. Great stat fit. He actually ranks top 15 according to my model this week. So really don't be surprised if Trahan goes out and makes the cut. All right, that's all I have for you guys. If you guys are interested in joining the Patreon page, it is $10 a month. We've had some pretty solid early success. A lot of 9-to-5 members have been sending me some messages, doing some tweets. So definitely check that out. It is a good thing. And, as always, let's keep cashing, guys. Let's have a good week. All right, thanks.